When I heard of his arrest, I, I couldn't believe it. I was sure they had the wrong person. It just didn't seem like anything that they were telling us was the Ed that we all knew.
In November 1957, two lawmen in Plainfield, Wisconsin, entered the home of 51-year-old Ed Gein. They would uncover a nightmarish collection of human remains, including furniture upholstered with skin, bowls fashioned from skulls, and a belt made of nipples. The gruesome discovery shocked the world, and a small, rural community became infamous for all of the wrong reasons.
The Ed I knew was not an evil person. He did things that normal people do not do. And there's just no doubt about that. He was, there was something in his head that didn't click right.
Hi, I'm Matilda from True Crime Uncut, and welcome to Closer to the Story. This week, we're speaking with Plainfield resident Max Harrington. What is it like to live in Plainfield?
It used to be a rural, pretty much completely rural farm area, serving the small farmers, the family farmers that lived in the area. As the years have gone and farming has changed, so we now have much larger farms, and we have more farm workers rather than the actual farm owners. And we have major employers or trucking companies and the educational facilities and the agriculture. It's not the largest city in the state of Wisconsin, but it's plenty big enough for those of us that live here.
How did you know Ed Gein?
We used to see Ed occasionally. I'd see him around town, and then he was always a friendly person, quiet, friendly. Usually had a joke to tell a joke, and he always had time to say hello and ask after how you were. A person who you would never suspect of anything other than being a part-time agriculture employee and a decent sort of person. Ed was the only one in the family I knew. His brother died very early in the 40s, and his mother shortly after. And so no, Ed was, that's when I was just very, very young. And so Ed was really the only one in the family I knew. But I know that Ed was born in La Crosse and moved here as a young man and with his family and lived on the same farm until he was removed for his crimes. One of my summer jobs when I was a student in high school was mowing the cemetery, and two of my buddies and I, that was about a 4-day job for us to mow that. And we would see Ed out there on occasion. He'd come out, and if he saw us working, he'd always come over and say hello, and again, sometimes have this little story to tell. He was very good about stopping to see his mother's grave. He would just just walk by and stop for a minute, and then I don't remember flowers. I really don't.
How did you react when you found out about Gein's crimes?
I worked for a local business about a mile out of town in the direction of Ed's home, and he when I heard of his arrest, I couldn't believe it. I was sure they had the wrong person because it just didn't seem like anything that they were telling us was the Ed that we all knew. Yeah, it was a Saturday night. We were at a dance at a big ballroom that's now been destroyed by fire. But we were there, and the story went through there, and everybody said, I don't believe it. But people that knew him. But it was true. It was the stories, the original stories seemed preposterous, but by the next morning we knew that they were loosely based on fact anyway. I never saw him again. Never.
Did you know the people who Gein murdered?
I knew Mrs. Warden quite well. She ran She and her family ran the hardware store here for many years. We had 2 hardware stores at that time. We still do. But almost everybody in the community knew Mrs. Warden. Well, we just go and do business with her. No, she was not a family friend or anything. But you just go in, you buy a pound of nails or whatever you went in for. And she always, in those days, she would write you up a slip and rip off the copy and give it to you with your change. It was deer season, so deer season is like a ghost town around here. Everybody, in those days especially, everybody was out hunting, and she wasn't even missed for for some hours. And then someone reported that she wasn't at the store. Well, that was her son, of course, an adult. Her adult son was out hunting. I assume, because he wasn't. Otherwise, he'd have been at the store also. But I hadn't even heard she wasn't there. By the time my shift that day would have been over around 5 o'clock-ish, and I hadn't heard a word of anything at all at that time. It wasn't until later that night that we heard the rumor that she had been missing and they had found her body. It took your breath away. It was shocking. And it still is. People don't do things like that in a small town on a normal day. That's just not part of what we grew up with. Mary Hogan. I really didn't know her. She ran a little beer bar out in the country. In those days, we had 18-year-old bars where teenagers could go in and have beer. And she ran one of those. It was a kind of a modest place, to be very kind. But she disappeared before I was old enough to frequent those establishments, so I really never really knew her. I knew of her, but didn't know her. Evidently, she went missing in the morning, and by the time anyone found it, and they found the telltale sales slip in the store, evidently from when it was discovered that she was missing until they found the body was not a great deal of time, a matter of hours at the most.
What did you think was Gein's motive?
I don't think anyone really knows what was going on in anyone else's mind completely. I know we hear all these theories by the people that get paid a lot of money to have theories that he had a mother complex and that she was the most important thing in his life. If that's true, we don't know, but the only person that could tell us has passed away about 30 years ago. So I've never disagreed with that theory. It always sounded okay with me, but is it the real reason? Probably, but maybe he had some other completely different motivations.
Did Gein's actions change the town?
It was, I'm not sure the atmosphere changed a lot. There was a tremendous amount of shock, and of course the loss to the community of a prominent business person. I think shock would be the biggest thing that we could use to describe the atmosphere in the community. We were still pretty much a clannish community at that time, when a lot of the families that were here had always been here, and the Warden family was well known for many years. It was just an exasperating time, and then of course the media got a hold of it, and then we were inundated by nosy Nellies that all thought that, boy, I got to go drive by that old farmhouse, and then we became a kind of I don't like to use the word chaotic, but a very unsettled community for a while. I don't think it affected the rank and file of the community, but those in the business area were, especially the closest area to his house, we were very busy. I was village president for 22 years, and we would get sometimes people who wanted to do films would be around every once in a while. But the general tourist population it's a thing of the past as far as I can tell. I can't imagine why anyone is really that interested after all these years, but I don't think that there's any real interest there. It takes a fairly old person to really remember anything about the crimes and the sensational coverage and things. It was, you know, I was 18 at that time. We really wouldn't care to have that be our claim to fame. You know, we've turned out lots of doctors and architects and some really good people out of our schools here. We're very proud of them. We'd rather be known for a tremendously good population than to be credited for only one issue. Yeah.
Is Gein's farm still standing?
Well, in the spring of the year, they were talking about having an auction and selling it, and they were, and it caught fire and burned to the ground. A lot of talk of arson. They had been cleaning up around there and had been burning trash up around the that particular day too. So then that was, or anyway, that was an excuse of a possible cause that maybe the wind got something in the evening and got some live embers in there. A lot of the neighbors weren't too happy with having talk of it being turned into a museum of sorts. But there were a lot of stories. Anyway, it's gone. People still kept coming though, even after the house was gone. We still had, for a year, still had people coming to drive by the empty lot where the house used to stand.
What happened to Gein's grave?
It's back there now. It was stolen. Ended up, they found it in Washington. Evidently, somehow on the computer, somebody was talking about it, and there was, I think, the sheriff's department made arrangements and got it, and it's back. It was there this summer anyway. It's not real far from my family plot.
How do you feel about Gein now?
Well, I really don't have a lot of feelings. I feel kind of sorry for the person in a way, because when you understand he was raised in a very different way, and he obviously got into a lot of trouble making some very, very bad decisions. But really, I don't think that he was. I don't think that he was treated badly by our legal system or anything. He got every advantage that he could for decent treatment and things. And he was judged insane, you know, and served out his life in an institution. But no, I hadn't even thought of him until the phone rang the other day, and someone with a weird accent was asking me about him. But no, yeah, it goes back way back in my lifetime. The Ed I knew was not an evil person. He did things that normal people do not do, and there's just no doubt about that. And to kill two people is certainly not a person who you would really like to invite to your neighborhood party. But yeah, he was. There was something in his head that didn't click right, and unfortunately that happens a lot. I'm seeing it on television now once or twice a week, where somebody just commits mayhem for no sensible reason against people they don't even know. So no, Ed's problem was not able to see things the way they have to be to live in a society. And so our legal system removed them from society and had to, should have, I think.
Ed Gein remained institutionalized until his death from respiratory failure at the Mendota Mental Health Institute on July 26, 1984. He was 77 years old. Gein's story would go on to inspire several iconic characters, including Norman Bates from Psycho, Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs, and Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For more content like this, please remember to like and subscribe, as well as hitting that hype button. Remember to also click the link in the description to join our free Patreon and Discord servers. I'm Matilda from True Crime Uncut. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.